Well, howdy, folks. Now, you might think you know everything there is to know about America's most talked about rifle, but I'm about to tell you something that'll knock your boots clean off. The AR-15 ain't just America's rifle because we say it is. It's America's rifle because it embodies everything this great nation was built on. Innovation, freedom, and the kind of engineering genius that'll make other countries weep into their morning coffee. But here's the crazy thing. The AR-15 wasn't actually supposed to be America's rifle. In fact, the military brass wanted nothing to do with it, and it took a near disaster in the jungles of Vietnam and some serious behind-the-scenes political maneuvering to get this beauty into American hands. Now, before some keyboard warrior starts typing furiously in the comments, let me be crystal clear about something. We're talking about the civilian AR-15 here, not the military M16. The civilian AR-15 is semi-automatic only, meaning one trigger pull equals one bullet. It ain't an assault rifle by any technical definition, despite what your local news anchor might tell you between commercial breaks for erectile dysfunction medication. Now, before we dive into the why this rifle has become America's sweetheart, let me paint you a picture of where we were before Eugene Stoner worked his magic. It's the 1950s, and American soldiers are lugging around the M14, a rifle that weighed about as much as a newborn calf and kicked harder than a mule with anger management issues. The M14 is what we call a battle rifle, firing the full power 7.62 NATO round. Now, don't get me wrong, that round will punch through just about anything you point it at, but trying to control that beast happy mode, my euphemism for what it really is since YouTube doesn't like the technical term, was like trying to wrestle a greased pig in a thunderstorm. Most soldiers couldn't hit the broadside of a barn if they were standing in it, and the recoil was so violent that sustained fire was essentially useless. You'd be shooting at clouds after the first 3 rounds. Meanwhile, the Soviets are running around with their AK-47s, and those Kalashnikov rifles were proving that maybe, just maybe, smaller and lighter might actually work better. The Germans have figured this out during World War II with their STG-44s, the world's first true assault rifle. But did the American military brass listen? Yeah, about as well as my ex-wife listened when I explained why I needed another rifle for home defense. The American military-industrial complex was stuck in the past, convinced that big bullets had worked since the 19th century, so why change now? This conservative faction used their political capital to force the adoption of the M14, and through NATO, they forced this choice on all of America's allies too. The British had to abandon their innovative EM2 rifle, the West Germans adopted the G3, and everyone else fell into line with battle rifles that were frankly obsolete before they left the factory. And enter Eugene Stoner, a self-taught genius who looked at the problem and said, "Hold my drink. This man was not your typical gun designer. He came from the aircraft industry where weight savings meant the difference between flying and becoming a very expensive lawn dart. Stoner took everything he knew about lightweight materials, precision engineering, and efficient design and applied it to small arms. Working for Armalite Corporation, and that is actually where AR comes from, by the way, not assault rifle, Stoner had already designed the AR-10, chambered in 7.62 NATO. This rifle used aluminum receivers and phenolic composite materials, something that made old-school ordnance guys clutch their pearls harder than a Southern Belle at a Yankees game, but in aluminum in a rifle? That's preposterous, but Stoner knew what he was doing. The AR-10 featured Stoner's revolutionary direct impingement gas system, which eliminated the traditional piston in favor of directing propelled gas backward directly into the bolt carrier. This reduced parts count, weight, and complexity while maintaining reliability. Despite its merits, the AR-10 failed to win an M14 contract, selling barely 10,000 units to a handful of militaries. But this setback would prove to be the foundation for something much greater. When the military finally realized the M14 was a disaster waiting to happen, and it was a spectacular disaster in Vietnam, they started looking at smaller calibers. General Willard Wyman approached Stoner in 1957 for a request for a .22 caliber rifle that could achieve hit probability at 300 yards. Though, for political reasons, this was bumped up to 500 yards because it sounded better to the Pentagon brass. Stoner? Well, he looked at the available cartridge cases and settled on the .222 Remington as a starting point. He designed a 55-grain boat-tail bullet and worked with the Sierra Bullet Company to manufacture it. When Remington and Winchester were asked to load this bullet into commercial cases, they ran into pressure issues with the standard .222 case. Now, the solution was brilliant in its simplicity. They created a slightly larger case that could handle high pressures and accommodate more propellant. And this became the .223 Remington, which would later be standardized as the 5.56 by 45mm NATO cartridge. This little cartridge would revolutionize warfare and become the heart of America's rifle. Now, let's talk about what makes a 5.56 NATO round special. This little cartridge is the secret sauce that makes the AR-15 America's rifle. The 5.56 wasn't trying to be the biggest, baddest round on the block, it's trying to be the smartest. Brother, it succeeded like a champion bass fisherman on a perfect morning. See, the old school thinking was bigger bullet, bigger hole, deader enemy. But battlefield studies from World War II and Korea showed that most combat happens within 300 meters, not the 800-yard shots that the 30-06 and 7.62 NATO were designed for. The 5.56 was purpose-built for the reality of modern warfare, not the fantasy of long-range dueling that existed mainly in the minds of desk-bound generals. Here's where it gets clever. The 5.56 weighs half of what a 7.62 NATO round weighs. That means a soldier could carry twice as much ammunition for the same weight. In a firefight, running out of ammo is like showing up to a barbecue without bringing beer. It ain't just embarrassing, potentially fatal. A soldier could carry 650 rounds of 5.56 for the same weight at 220 rounds of 7.62 NATO. And that is a game changer in sustained combat. The real genius is in the ballistics. The 5.56 leaves a muzzle at about 3,200 feet per second from a 20-inch barrel. That's moving faster than most people's excuses when they're caught doing something they shouldn't. And at that velocity, this little 55-grain bullet creates a temporary wound cavity that is devastating to soft tissue. The high velocity causes the bullet to yaw and fragment upon impact, creating wound channels that are far more effective than the bullet's small diameter would suggest. Now, the military learned this the hard way in Vietnam. Early reports suggested the 5.56 wasn't effective, but that's because some genius at the Pentagon decided to change the powder specification without telling anybody. The original ammo used IMR 4475 powder, which gave the proper velocity and pressure curve. When they switched to ball powder to save money, it changed the entire ballistic performance and caused reliability issues. Once they sorted out the ammunition problems and got the barrel twist rate right, 1 to 12 initially, later changed to 1 to 7 to stabilize heavier bullets, the 5.56 proved it could drop an enemy just as effectively as heavier rounds, but with less recoil, more ammunition capacity, and better controllability in happy mode. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts of what makes the AR-15 platform so special, as this rifle is like the Swiss Army knife of the gun world. Versatile, reliable, and probably a version for every possible situation you can imagine, including some situations you probably shouldn't. The heart of the AR-15 is Eugene Stoner's direct impingement gas system. Now, I know that sounds fancier than a Sunday suit, but it's actually beautifully simple in the way that only true genius can be. When you fire the rifle, some of the gas from the burning powder gets diverted through a tiny hole in the barrel, travels down a gas tube, and pushes the bolt carrier group backward. No pistons, no complicated mechanisms, no moving parts that can bind up when things get dirty. Just gas pressure doing what gas pressure does best. This system keeps the rifle lightweight and reduces the number of moving parts. Fewer moving parts means fewer things that can break, and in a rifle, reliability is more important than your morning coffee, and that's saying something coming from a man who considers coffee one of the 4 basic food groups. The bolt itself uses a rotating bolt design with multiple lock-in lugs that engage the barrel extension. This distributes the firing stresses evenly and allows the use of lightweight aluminum receivers. The bolt carrier groups is chrome-lined or coated with modern materials like nickel boron to resist corrosion and fouling. Modular design is where the AR-15 really shines brighter than a new penny. The upper and lower receivers are held together by 2 pins. That's it. Pop those pins and you can swap uppers faster than a NASCAR pit crew changes tires. Want a different caliber? Swap the upper. Want a different barrel length? Swap the upper. Want to confuse your wife about how many rifles you actually own? Well, technically it's just 1 lower receiver, honey. This modularity extends throughout the entire platform. The handguard, stock, pistol grip, trigger group, even the safety selector can be swapped out with aftermarket components. It's like adult Legos, but with more freedom and better engineering tolerances. And that trigger group is a thing of beauty, too. The AR-15 uses what's called a fire control group. The hammer, trigger, disconnector, and springs all work together in perfect harmony, like a mechanical symphony, and when it's tuned right, the trigger brake is cleaner than a whistle and more predictable than your buddy's bad jokes about his mother-in-law. The safety selector is ambidextrous friendly and can be easily modified for left-hand shooters. The magazine release is positioned perfectly for the trigger finger to operate without breaking your firing grip. The bolt catch allows for quick reloads and can be operated from either side of the rifle. Now here's where the AR-15 becomes more American than apple pie baseball and complaining about taxes combined. The customization options. This rifle platform has more accessories and modifications available than a lifted pickup truck at a county fair. That's exactly how we like it in this great nation of ours. Want a different stock? Well, there's literally hundreds of options. Collapsible, fixed, adjustable for length of pull, adjustable for cheek weld, precision rifle stocks, lightweight skeletonized stocks. If you can dream it, someone's probably making it. The Magpul CTR stock is popular for good reason, offering a solid lockup and storage compartments, but you got everything from basic M4 style stocks to precision rifle stocks that cost more than some people's cars and perform better than most people's marriages. You got quad rails that can mount more accessories than a Swiss Army knife. You can mount lights, lasers, vertical grips, angled grips, bipods, sling mounts, and probably even a cup holder if you look hard enough on the internet. Heck, I found a beer can launcher when working on another video that mounts on an AR-15. Modern handguards are free-floated, meaning they don't touch the barrel, which improves accuracy by eliminating stress on the barrel. Companies like Daniel Defense, BCM, Wissell, and Midwest Industries make handguards that are works of art in their own right. Lightweight, strong, and designed for both form and function in mind. Optics? Brother, sky's the limit, and then some. Iron sights are classic and reliable. The A2 front sight posts and rear aperture sight are battle-tested and effective out to 500 yards in trained hands. But you can mount everything from a simple red dot like an Aimpoint or EOTech to a variable power scope that costs more than a used car and has more features than a smartphone. Barrels are where you can really dial in performance for your specific needs, too. Want a lightweight pencil barrel for general use and carrying in the field? Done. Want a heavy barrel for precision shooting and sustained fire? No problem. Chrome-lined barrels offer superior durability and corrosion resistance, and they'll last longer than your next car and stay accurate throughout their service life. Stainless steel barrels provide the ultimate in accuracy potential, with nitride-treated barrels offering the best compromise between accuracy, durability, and cost. Barrel profiles range from lightweight pencil barrels that heat up quickly but are easy to carry, to heavy bull barrels that maintain accuracy during rapid fire but weigh as much as a boat anchor. Government profile barrels offer a compromise with a heavy section under the handguard for strength and a lighter section towards the muzzle for balance. The beauty is that all these parts are largely interchangeable across manufacturers. It's standardization at its finest. You can mix and match components from different companies and they'll work together seamlessly. This level of standardization and interchangeability is uniquely American and reflects our industrial heritage. Now let's address the elephant in the room next. Reliability. Some folks like to claim the AR-15 is finicky, high maintenance, or unreliable. Those folks probably think ketchup belongs on a good steak, that light beer is an acceptable beverage choice, and that participation trophies build character. The truth is, in a properly built AR-15, quality components, well, they're more reliable than a sunrise over the Grand Canyon. The military's been using variants of this platform for over 60 years, and it's seen action in every major conflict since Vietnam. You don't stick with a platform that long if it don't work when your life depends on it. The key is understanding that the AR-15 is a precision instrument, not a club. It likes to be clean and properly lubricated, just like any other precision tool. Keep it clean, keep it lubricated with gun quality oil or grease, and use quality ammunition. Well, then it'll run like a Swiss watch made by German engineers and assembled by Japanese craftsmen. The direct impingement system does blow some carbon back into the action. That's just physics. And you can't argue with physics any more than you can argue with your wife about directions. But you know what? Modern AR-15s are designed to handle this. The bolt carrier group is chrome-lined or coated with advanced materials like nickel boron or titanium nitride to resist fouling. The tolerances are designed to function even when things get a little dirty. I've seen AR-15s run thousands of rounds without cleaning and torture tests that will make a drill sergeant proud. I've seen them buried in mud, dunked in water, frozen solid, and generally abused in ways that would violate the Geneva Convention if they were people, and they keep on running. Now let's talk about accuracy, because this is where the AR-15 really separates itself from the pack, like a thoroughbred at a county fair horse race. The platform is inherently accurate due to several design features that work together like a well-oiled machine operated by a master craftsman. First, the barrel is free-floated in most modern configurations. That means the barrel doesn't touch the handguard, so nothing can put pressure on it and throw off your shots. It can vibrate naturally when fired, and that leads to consistent points of impact, like letting the tuning fork ring freely instead of dampening it with your hand. The sight radius on an AR-15 is longer than most rifles, which means small aiming errors are magnified less at the target. Basic geometry. The longer the distance between your front and rear sight, the more precise your aiming can be. Like the difference between using a ruler and using a yardstick to draw a straight line. The ergonomics contribute to accuracy too. The straight line stock design means the recoil comes straight back into your shoulder, not up and back like traditional rifle designs. This reduces muzzle rise and lets you get back on target faster for follow-up shots. Pistol grip allows for better control and more consistent hand placement than traditional straight stocks. The trigger is positioned at the optimal angle for straight back finger movement. The safety selector falls naturally under the trigger finger. The magazine well is flared for faster reloads, and the bolt catch allows for immediate reloading when the rifle runs dry. With a quality barrel and good ammo, a standard AR-15 can easily shoot 1 to 2 MOA or minute of angle groups. That means at 100 yards, your shots will group within a 1 to 2 inch circle. For a semi-auto rifle, that's impressive accuracy that'll handle any task you throw at it, from hunting to home defense to competition shooting. We're talking accuracy that rivals bolt actions, but with the speed and capacity of a semi-automatic platform. Some precision AR-15s can shoot groups smaller than half an inch at 100 yards consistently. This platform's accuracy potential is limited more by the shooter and ammunition than by the rifle itself. With proper technique, quality components, and match-grade ammo, the AR-15 is capable of precision that would have been considered impossible in the semi-automatic rifle just a few decades ago. Now here's where the AR-15 really shows why it's America's rifle: versatility. Home defense? 16-inch barrel with a red dot sight, tactical light makes for an excellent home defense setup. The 5.56 round is effective for stopping threats, but less likely to overpenetrate through walls than larger rifle rounds or even some pistol rounds when using the right ammunition. The rifle's lightweight and low recoil makes it manageable for small-statured family members, while its effectiveness ensures adequate stopping power. And are you hunting? Swap to a 20-inch barrel, add a variable power scope, and load up some heavier bullets like 77-grain Sierra Match Kings or 75 Hornady BTHP. You got a capable hunting rifle for medium game. The AR-15 platform is legal for hunting in most states, and it is particularly effective for predator control, maybe hog hunting or a little varmint shooting. The quick follow-up shots are invaluable when dealing with multiple targets or wounded game. Competition shooting? The AR-15 dominates in 3-gun competitions, service rifle matches, and precision rifle comps. The platform's accuracy, reliability, and fast shooting make it a natural choice for competitive shooters. High-speed, low-drag competition rifles can be built that are lighter, faster, and more accurate than anything available to previous generations of shooters. What about training, you might ask? The recoil and easy handling make the AR-15 excellent training rifle for new shooters. Not intimidating like some of the larger rifles, but it teaches proper rifle fundamentals. The controls are intuitive, the manual of arms is straightforward, and the platform grows with the shooter's skill level. Law enforcement and military applications speak for themselves. The rifle's modularity allows it to be configured for different mission requirements, from close quarters battle to designated marksman roles. The same basic platform can serve a patrol officer, a SWAT team member, and a military-designated marksman with appropriate configuration changes. That modularity means you can have one lower receiver and multiple uppers configured for different roles, like having a whole gun safe worth of rifles in one package. That's particularly appealing when you're trying to explain to your spouse why you need another rifle. But here's a real reason why the AR-15 is America's rifle. It represents freedom in its purest, most distilled form. This rifle embodies the American spirit of innovation, self-reliance, and the fundamental right to keep and bear arms that our founding fathers recognized as essential to a free society. The AR-15 is the most popular rifle in America, with an estimated 20 to 30 million in civilian hands. That's not because Americans are bloodthirsty or violent. It's because Americans recognize a superior tool when they see one, and they value the freedom to own it. The same spirit that drove Americans to build the Transcontinental Railroad, put a man on the moon, or create the internet. This rifle represents the democratization of military-grade small arms technology. For the first time in history, civilians have access to essentially the same small arms tech used by military forces around the world. That's a powerful equalizer and a strong deterrent to tyranny, both foreign and domestic. An armed citizenry is a free citizenry. The AR-15 ensures that American citizens have access to effective defensive tools. The AR-15 also represents American manufacturing excellence and innovation too. While the original design came from one brilliant engineer, the platform's been refined and improved by countless American manufacturers and innovators. Companies like Colt, Daniel Defense, BCM, Novesk, LaRue Technical, and hundreds of others have pushed the platform to new heights of performance and reliability. The competitive marketplace has driven continuous improvement in materials, manufacturing processes, and design refinements. I mean, today's AR-15s are lighter, stronger, more accurate, and more reliable than Eugene Stoner could have probably ever imagined when he first designed the platform in the 1950s. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't address the political controversy surrounding the AR-15. This rifle's become a lightning rod in American politics, with some folks wanting to ban it and others defending it with the passion of a mama bear protecting her cubs. The truth is, the AR-15 has become a symbol in the gun control debate that goes far beyond its actual capabilities or use in crime. According to the FBI statistics, rifles of all types, including the AR-15, are used in a very tiny fraction of gun crimes. You're more likely to be struck by lightning while being attacked by a shark than to be a victim of a crime involving an AR-15. But facts don't always matter in political debates, and the AR-15's appearance makes it an easy target for politicians looking to do something about gun violence. The reality is civilian AR-15 functions exactly the same as any other semi-automatic rifle. One trigger pull, one shot. Cosmetic features that make it look military don't change its fundamental operation. Every time politicians threaten to ban or restrict the AR-15, sales skyrocket. Americans don't like being told what they can and can't own, especially when it comes to their constitutional rights. The threat of prohibition creates demand, and manufacturers struggle to keep up with orders during these political panics. The AR-15 has become a symbol of resistance to government overreach. It represents the principle that free people should have access to free defensive tools, that the government should not have a monopoly on force. This principle is as American as apple pie and just as important to our national character. At this point, the AR-15 has become more than just a rifle. It's become a cultural phenomenon that transcends its mechanical function. It represents Americans' values of self-reliance, preparedness, and the right to defend oneself, one's family, and one's country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The AR-15 community is also uniquely American in the spirit of innovation and sharing. Online forums, YouTube channels, and local gun clubs are filled with people sharing mods, improvements, and knowledge about the platform. It's a community built around sharing appreciation for engineering excellence, constitutional rights, and American values. This sharing of knowledge has accelerated innovation in the platform. Improvements developed by small manufacturers and individual enthusiasts quickly spread throughout the community. And that drives continuous improvement in performance, reliability, and functionality. Now, one of the AR-15's greatest strengths is its ammunition versatility. The 5.56 NATO chamber can safely fire both 5.56 NATO and 223 Remington ammo, though 223 chambers should only fire 223 Remington due to pressure differences. For home defense, the 55-grain soft point or hollow point bullets provide good expansion and reduced over-penetration compared to military ball ammunition. Federal Tactical TRU, Hornady TAP, and Spear Gold Dot are popular choices that balance effectiveness with reduced risk to bystanders. For hunting, heavier bullets like the 62 grain, 69 grain, or 77 grain provide better penetration and energy retention at longer ranges. Now, these bullets are more effective on medium game and provide better performance in them windy conditions. For precision shooting, match-grade ammunition with bullets like 77 Gray Sierra Match King or 75 grain Hornady BTHP can achieve sub-MOA accuracy in quality rifles. These bullets have high ballistic coefficients and maintain velocity and accuracy at extended ranges. For training and practice, standard 55 grain FMJ ammunition provides reliable function at reasonable cost. Military surplus ammunition can be very economical for high-volume shooting, though accuracy may not match premium ammunition. The platform's ability to use different ammunition types for different applications makes it incredibly versatile. You can imagine, the same rifle can be used for home defense, hunting, competition, and training simply by changing ammo. So there you have it, folks. The AR-15 is America's rifle because it embodies everything that makes America great. It's innovative, reliable, versatile, and represents the pinnacle of small arms engineering. It's a tool that can serve multiple roles, from home defense to hunting to competitive shooting, and it does them all exceptionally well. But more than that, it represents American values that run deeper than the Grand Canyon and stronger than Texas barbecue sauce. The right to keep and bear arms, the spirit of innovation and continuous improvement, the refusal to accept good enough when excellent is possible. It represents the American belief that free people should have access to the best tools available to defend themselves, their families, and their liberty. The AR-15 ain't just a rifle, it's a symbol of American freedom, ingenuity, and the unshakable belief that individual liberty is worth defending. It represents a democratization of military-grade technology, putting effective defensive tools in the hands of law-abiding citizens who understand that freedom ain't free, and that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. From Eugene Stoner's innovative design to the millions of Americans who own and cherish these rifles today, the AR-15 represents the best of American engineering, manufacturing, and its values. It's a testament to what American innovation can achieve when brilliant minds are free to pursue excellence without government interference or bureaucratic obstacles. Now, if you enjoyed learning about why the AR-15 has earned its place as America's rifle, you're gonna love my next video where I break down the biggest mistakes people make when building their first AR-15. I've seen grown men cry over parts compatibility issues, watch perfectly good rifles turn into expensive paperweights because someone didn't do their homework, and witness more money wasted on unnecessary upgrades than a politician spends on campaign promises. Click that video right there and I'll show you how to avoid the pitfalls that trap most first-time builders. Save you hundreds of dollars in wasted parts, and you know what? I'll help you build a rifle that'll make your buddies jealous. Trust me, your wallet, your sanity, and your shooting buddies will thank you later. Until next time, keep your powder dry and your freedom secure.